Hello, welcome to Life Expansion. I'm Jason Stephenson and thank you for being here on this amazing, beautiful day where I get the chance, or I've already had the chance to interview the amazing life coach, Australian life coach, Deb Hann. And you're in for a treat today, I'm going to tell you. But first of all, I'll just swing across and say hello to the people that are here on live stream. And so I can see Tanya there. Hi, Tanya, and Seal. And Adele, welcome. And Dreamweaver, good to see you guys. And hello, Livy. It's great to be here. Today, as I said, I got the chance to interview Deb Hann. It was a fantastic interview. And Deb speaks about everything faith versus fear. And I'm going to let you in on a little what Deb uses as her acronyms for this. I'm probably uncovering it now before she speaks it, but it's just so worth it to mention again and again. So her acronym for fear, you may have heard something similar to this or this one. It's false evidence appearing real. And faith stands for finding answers in the heart. And that resonates with me so much. And someone's banging at my door. It's a live stream. Oh my goodness. So I think they can wait. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to, Deb Hann is amazing. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background information on Deb. She's had over 2 decades of life coaching. Deb has been a life coach before you even heard about life coaching, to be honest. And she's been a trainer at the Life Coaching Academy in Australia and Leadership Management Australia. And she coaches everyone, I mean everyone, from mums and dads to CEOs and in between. So she is amazing. She is my personal life coach. I'm very honored to share Deb Hann with you guys, and I hope that you will enjoy this recording. This recording will go for 39 minutes. We'll be on here. I'll be certainly on here to chat as well. And I know Deb can't make it today, but she's here in spirit, and I'm sure she'll be here at a later time. So please enjoy, guys, and let's switch over now to Studio B with Deb Hann. Catch you on the other side. Hello and welcome to Life Expansion, Deb Hann. Thank you very much for joining us here today.
Total pleasure, Jason. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. And I was reflecting back on when we first met, Deb, and I believe it was about in 2006, 2007 at the Crown Hotel, Queensland, where you were training. I was one of the trainees to become a life coach.
Indeed, yes.
And I can remember going in there with a lot of, although there was excitement, there was a lot of fear at the time. But once I dived into that training, I remember being one of the greatest weekends of my life. And I don't kid you when I say that. I still have such beautiful memories, and you inspired me, Deb. So I just want to say thank you for that, for way back then.
Oh, thank you. That was hands down a magical weekend. That was one of the coolest weekend trainings we ever did there, I think, seriously. And you were a massive part of that, right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, I do know what you're talking about.
So can I share with with our listeners like what happened with your listeners? So do you remember on the Friday night we were in that revolving restaurant having dinner? You were sitting next to me.
Yes.
And nice move, Jace. Just hustle on next to the teacher. That's fine.
Wow, that must have taken me a lot of courage, though. Believe me, I wouldn't.
Well done. It was brilliant. But we were having this great conversation about, you were telling me how you sang, and you used to do some singing and so on. And I don't know, it just, something clicked within me when you said that, and I'd never heard you sing at all, but something within me went, get him to sing over the weekend. And so I did. On a Sunday morning, you launched Sunday morning for us, and you sang The Circle of Life. And honestly, there was not a dry eye in the house. It was like you filled the room. It was just absolutely magical. And I cannot talk about that and not have a physical reaction. Honestly, it just it is amazing. That was such a magical weekend. It really was special.
Absolutely. If you hear the tick, 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 that's just my dog Dharma on the floor. So forgive me for that.
That's all right.
So yeah, I remember it so well, and it opened my eyes to life coaching. But before all this began, Deb, what did you aspire to do as a child? Obviously, there was no life coaching even at that time. So
I know, because it was so long ago. No. Okay, do you know, I get a real giggle out of this, to be honest, because when I was growing up, all I knew is that I wanted to work with people. I wanted to talk with people, right? And so the only thing I kind of could identify with that was psychology.
I'm so glad this wasn't live.
What happened?
He got taken up. I've got all lights and leads all over there, and he's just got tangled up in the light, and he's pulling the whole light down. Can we leave that in, maybe?
You know, but you probably should. You probably should leave it in, because it'll be relevant to what we talk about later.
Okay, let's continue on, Deb. I'm sorry.
That's right. So the only thing I could relate to was psychology, and I thought, oh, I'll be a psychiatrist or something, like that. And then I remember I wouldn't have been, I don't know, early teens anyway. And I was with my mum, and we were, driving through Adelaide, and the Flinders University was being built at that point in time. And I said to my mum, I'm going to go there, and I'm going to study psychology, and I'm going to be a psychologist. And she said to me at the time, and God love her, love my mum, this isn't a bad thing, but she just says, oh, there's no money in psychology, Debbie, just, work in a bank and you'll be fine, right? And so the hilarious thing is that's exactly what happened. When I left school, I didn't go to university and study psychology. I worked in a bank, and I worked in a bank for 12 years or something like that. But I always had this thing about working with people. And so, when I had my, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, was a midlife crisis, a corporate burnout, that's it, I'm taking a sabbatical and going to go discover myself. That was in 2001. And I just saw this life coaching, and the more I looked, I thought, this is me, and the rest is history. So there you go.
Wow. So now I'm guessing that when that come into play, when you started with the life coaching, that would have been really in the very early days of when it was introduced into Australia. Am I right in saying that?
Totally right. Yeah. It was.
Yeah. How was that, Deb? Because there would have been a lot of people thinking it was a load of BS.
Yeah. Self-included, raising my hand.
Yeah.
This crazy new age thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the more I looked, the more I looked, the more I liked, the more I got into it, the more it resonated, the more I started going, I see what this is, And to be honest, it was actually, for me, it was really exciting, because I actually really found it as a really cool opportunity to put coaching on the table, like to get it up for discussion. So I got myself into a radio program very quickly. I was on radio, and I had a radio program for about 4 or 5 years, something like that. And so for me, each week I'd have my radio spot, and that was just an opportunity to get coaching discussed, so that when people were sitting at their barbecues on the weekend and going, "Oh, you hear that crazy chick on the radio talking about coaching? What's that?" Great, let's have a debate about it. What is it? What isn't it? And they're the kind of things that got people talking about it more and more and more. And yeah, and now it's pretty much mainstream, which is brilliant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes I scratch my head and wonder why there was such a thing against it, because when you look at sporting teams, having their coaches and to be the best they can be, why not have that for our individual selves?
Yeah.
So you've done a great thing, like bringing this more and more into mainstream, and I know that you've got many students across the world too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
So Deb, with the your current mission is, I've been looking at your pages, and it's your faith-fueled mission.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're working with a lot of the clients. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so we're not going to church. You can go to church. There's nothing wrong with going to church. It's completely fine. But faith for me is very an acronym. I love playing with words. I think almost all words in my word have an acronym attached to them. But for me, faith is finding answers in the heart. And then once you've found it, follow answers in the heart. Right?
Oh, wow. I like that.
So we find and or follow answers in the heart. And that might sound corny and woo-woo and all that. However, it's really talking about, what is this calling upon your heart? What do you feel called to do, driven to do? Like I said, I knew from a really early age that I was meant to work with people in some way, shape or form. And sure, I got thrown off path for a while there, but I came back to that. And that's the thing I always find fascinating, is that so often we get drawn back to whatever that youthful instinct was that we had at the time. It's worth revisiting and paying attention to if you're in a state kind of going, what am I meant to do in my life, and all that kind of deal. But yeah.
And so, like, you found it, and it might have been buried just for a little while, but it resurfaced, and of course then you followed it through.
Absolutely.
I know there's been time where in my life that some of my choices that I've made in life have been based unintentionally on fear, rather than some sensibility. It's just been based on fear, and I wasn't even aware of that at the time. How can we become aware if we're making a decision or a choice, if it is based on fear or it's not based on fear? Can you get some light on that at all for me, Deb?
How much time have we got, Jason? Because I get a bit passionate about this stuff.
Yeah, no, we've got a big time.
All right. So fear is another acronym in my world, and it's not an uncommon acronym. Many people have heard this before. Fear represents false evidence appearing real. All right. And to be honest, we have this battle going on. We've got this, the fearful voice and the faithful voice. And it's interesting because fear has one job description, and that is to interrupt anything faith-fueled, to get in the way, because it knows if faith gets its way, wowzers. I mean, like, seriously, can you even imagine what life would be like if you really were fearless and you followed those joyful, blissful, purposeful, harmonious, love-filled intentions that, we think about, right? And can you imagine if everybody did that? How amazing this world would be, right? We get snippets of it now and again. And it's awe-inspiring, right? But also, and see, fear knows that. And it's got a whole bunch of friends. Fear doesn't act alone. It comes crashing the party in your heart with all of its little buddies, like doubt and envy and anger and anxiety and depression and comparison and, right?
Mm.
Bottom line is, anything that has you feeling less than is associated with fear. So any story that you are telling yourself that's talking you out of your sense of possibility is fear getting up and in your face, being a sneaky little mean guy or girl,
Wow.
and denying your sense of possibility. And the interesting thing is that faith so often is anything but loud.
Yeah.
Faith often sits back, quiet, kind of confident, and it just kind of sits laying and waiting, just knowing it knows it'll come around eventually.
Mm.
And it doesn't need to get its diva on. That's the beautiful thing about faith.
It just sits softly there in the background and allows us to make the choices.
Perfect. That's exactly what it does. Yeah.
Mm.
Pretty cool.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's something to remember. Any of those stories that we have.
Yeah.
If they come up, it's like, okay, yeah. What do you want? What are you trying to tell me? You're trying to put me off. Yeah. Now, I know that fear is a thing that we have to have at some point. We must have a little bit of fear before we cross the road, of course. Well, not fear as such, but cautiousness. Otherwise,
yeah. I can just talk to that for 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So, like I said, fear being false evidence appearing real, right? In the fear versus faith scenario, it's got one role, and that is to interrupt faith. But in life, it's also it can protect us, right? So as you stand on the edge and you look down and you go, oh, that might hurt if I fall. that's protector, right?
Yes.
So there's that thing that I always promote. False evidence appearing real is actually a really cool question, right? Because what is false that's appearing real? Right? 9 times out of 10, our worries, our anxieties, false evidence appearing real, are smoke and mirrors, right? Whereas looking down, going, oh, that's a long way down and it might hurt, there's nothing false in that.
Of course.
That's a true story. It's an ambulance ride waiting to be called.
So do you think a lot of us are stuck in this this fear of the fight or flight response, where we stay in it and then we can't get out of it? It's like this circle that we're just trapped in.
Yeah, it's so true. It's a really good way to put it. And to be honest, in my coaching, that's what, and whether that's coaching in the workplace, whether it's your personal coaching, starting a business, following whatever people's hopes and dreams are, whatever that shows up in when I work with people, that's what I'm challenging. I'm helping them kind of unpick those fearful stories, those fear-based stories, and getting them more associated with that faithful possibility and potentiality, because that's where the magic lives, right? So let's build those stories up. Let's build that confidence and call to action up.
Yeah. Because
I
was going to say, because it's also the weight that we carry of the past, of the old belief system, that we keep just dragging with us, which is contained. Fear is contained within that, within those old beliefs. So I guess that your job is to question that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to highlight it.
Yeah, put it, what is it? Shine a light into the shadows and all of that kind of deal. So it's just to unlock people, and it's so powerful. And in a nanosecond, it's powerful. Lives change in a nanosecond when they just shatter that belief, and they can see the falseness. It's, yeah.
That's a beautiful thing to be a part of.
It really is.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I've been listening to a lot of Brene Brown, and I know that you love Brene Brown, and I mean, she's just absolutely, wow, she's amazing. And I've just been listening to a new book, I believe it's called Dare to Lead.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one part that I picked up just recently was when she spoke about joy, and when we experience joy. And, it might be, someone getting married, or a promotion in a job, or, rightly so, times when life is beautiful and we experience joy. But what we tend to do sometimes is to cut that joy short, almost sabotage that joy, for fear of that being ripped away from us in the not so distant future. So it's like feeling the joy, and like, oh no, I can't feel that joy. No, because that might be taken away, or the job might fall through, and so the sad part is we're not really experiencing the full joy of life. Same as we run away from pain sometimes, we're even running away from joy.
You got it. Yeah. I love when she talks about it. Yeah, it's the way she talks about that is so true. And it's exactly what I'm talking about in relation to fear versus faith, because joy lives on the faithful side of the ledger, right? If you're going to find and follow answers in your heart, we're following joy, right? We're following our bliss. We're realizing all manner of, magnificence. That's joyful. And fear knows that. And so it comes along with that little,
Yes. Yeah.
Bubble gonna burst.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's a perfect example of the fear versus faith. It actually talks us out, it denies us our joy. And it's such a shame. There's so many occasions where we see this play out. And the word you just used a moment ago about sabotaging, how we self-sabotage. And 9 times out of 10, we sabotage because, you said before about the stories that we're dragging from the past. That's exactly what's going on, because what happens, fear comes along and it goes, oh yeah, remember the last time you were this joyful? Going to happen again. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, it brings back all this. Remember in grade 5, remember the first day on the new job, remember that date, remember, it's like it just throws all this stuff at us, and in a nanosecond, what's more. So yeah, it's so true. And so put a stop sign up, people.
Yeah.
Stop the nonsense, lean into the faith, lean into the joy, bring it on. Enjoy, right? Enjoy.
I love that. I was doing, doing a bit of research for this, and surprise, and and when I was looking up fear versus faith, 99.9% of all articles and everything on it was religious based. And we touched on this before. Do you believe we have to be religious based, or even believe in a higher power for this to work? Or can this work for atheists?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because faith in that spiritual sense, in that higher power piece, is such a personal thing. We get to choose this for ourselves, right? This is that free will thing, right? But the thing is, what I do know to be true in relation to this piece is that while we don't all have to believe in God or a higher power, whatever language you want to put to universe and source and so on, like you say, some people believe in nothing, that atheist, agnostic, right? But what I know to be true is that everybody believes in something. And even if that's just a sense of right and wrong. So they believe in the sun rising and the sun setting. That's it. their belief system centers around that. I worked with a lady a long time ago now, and because I remember I had the conversation with her about what her belief system was or is, I should say, and she went, no, nothing. I don't believe that's all. Yeah, don't have any faith like that at all. And I said to her, I said, but what do you believe in? I said, we all have something that we believe in that gives us a sense of right and wrong. It's our moral, ethical compass, right? Mm. And she said, shoes. I believe in shoes. And I was like, sorry? But what happened, her thing around shoes was extraordinary. She literally had her own deity around shoes, because she had shoes she would never wear again, because the experience she had in that pair of shoes was that amazing. Talk about the whole taking joy out and not wanting to damage joy. There were shoes that she had such a joyful experience, and she would not wear them again in case it's spoiled for whatever. So yeah.
Wow.
So we all have something that we hold true to, and yes, it's such a personal choice.
Yes. Yeah, great. I read this article in the Rolling Stone magazine. It's an article, it's a 2016 article, so it's a couple of years old, but I'll read it out to you. It says, around the globe, household wealth, longevity and education are on the rise, while violent crime and extreme poverty are down. In the US, life expectancy is higher than ever. Our air is the cleanest it's been in a decade. And violent crime has been trending down since 1991. Now, this really shocked me, because what we get to see in the media and what we're told by politicians and what we see constantly on social media is, it seems to be fear that is pushed more and more and more. It's just getting, for me, I see it as just becoming almost to the point where it's becoming out of control.
Yeah.
What's going on here, Deb? Is it politicians? Is it the media? Is it social media?
We're in Australia right now. We've got an election tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah.
And I have yet to see one media message that's anchored in positivity. Everything like this, every single party, whether it be a party or an independent or whatever, all of them start with downing the opposition, right? So it's just fear. If you vote for them, this will happen. If you vote for them, this will happen. It's just right. But that article you cited then was that's in the age of terror, right? Sort of post 9/11, and yet violent crime is trending down. And like you said, we wouldn't have a clue if we didn't, be aware of that kind of article. And it's interesting. Jamie Oliver did a TED talk, and I'm going to say it's about 2012, 2014, something along that timeline. And he was talking about sugar, right? and trying to get sugar out of the kids' diet and so on.
Okay.
As part of his TED talk, what he put up was this fabulous slide about what's killing the Western world. So it wasn't just America, because he was in America at the time. It was like the Western world. And he said, you would think that the number one thing that should be getting all the attention in the media, you would think that that would be getting all the attention in the media.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So the number one disease killer of the Western world was obesity. Right? So that's the biggest killer by a long shot. The least thing that was killing the Western world was gun deaths. like violent crime. And yet,
Interesting.
what do we see in the media all the time, right? So I really encourage people to seek that TED Talk out. Like I said, it's a few years old now, but the message is just so relevant.
I will
And the
definitely.
thing is, yeah. So the media is really, again, they're trying to justify their existence at this point in time. And so they're fighting for everything they can to get attention. We know that fear is loud. Fear gets people's attention. And what I love about what you do, Jason, is that you're not playing on fear at all. You're completely the opposite. You are so in the faithful side of the ledger, just delivering peace and harmony and love and relaxation and compassion and abundance day in, day out with all that you do, whether it's your meditations or these interviews or the lives that you do. You're settling abundance and peace and harmony, and you're getting noticed. So please keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. It's
we need more of that to counter the nonsense.
We do. Well, we do, don't we? We really do. And as you said before, it's fear is the loudest, and that, again, that faith is just sitting there quietly, waiting for us all to pick it up and run with it, including the world and the politicians and and I know Marianne Williamson is going for presidency in the USA, and I'm just quietly, I love that lady so much. All she stands for. So yeah,
she is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But yeah, look, if I can say one thing to that piece, is that fear will always be at its loudest and its most destructive when faith has the most to gain. And what I would say is, if you've ever had to, maybe you were going to do something for the first time, maybe you were going to speak, do a presentation, I don't know, you're going to meet someone, make a phone call, just anything that's kind of really exciting, was way out of your comfort zone, and yet instinctively that it's a good thing to do. And I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, when you've got something really cool to do, fear comes along, there's a knot in your gut, you have a panic attack, you can't breathe, the voices in your head are loud about, what do you want to do that for? What do you want to make that phone call? You're wasting your time, whatever.
Yes.
And yet, if you follow through with that call or that meeting or whatever it was, and it is just the best thing, you have that joyful explosion, right? It's just like, yes, awesome, wonderful, right? You have those kind of moments, right?
Yes.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Fear is really going to try and interfere with anything good that you're going to try and do. And it's really sneaky, really sneaky.
Can I just share a little story here? It was a few years back when I was invited to do a guided meditation to about 800 people in Santa Barbara, including some Hollywood stars, different people. And anyway, at first I was very excited that I had the opportunity. I was over the moon. I couldn't believe it. I thought, wow, this is fantastic. This is what I've wanted to do. And as it come up, and I knew about a year, even 15 months off. And so I'm just like, yeah. And as time started to come, like, yes, no, yes, no. What am I doing? Jason, who do you think you are? No, you can't do that, Jason. No, you are definitely not doing this. You don't know what you're even talking about. Why do you? And Deb, I'm telling you, about a month before it was that strong. I was really going to cancel the whole entire trip, lose all my airfare, and make up a story, because and I realized that I couldn't do that. I had to go ahead with it. And it ended up, I went ahead with it. And this particular meditation, the one I was doing in front of a large group of people, I didn't even really prepare for. I prepared for a smaller one, but didn't prepare for this one so much. And talk about faith. Before I went on stage, I just said, God, like, please just let me be of service to the people. That's all I want to do. I just want to give them something. I want to be of service. Can we do this? And I went up there and something amazing happened that has never happened. And the goosebumps again I'm getting right now. I sat there, I pulled that chair up, and it's like I'd been there all my life in front of those people. And I just began. And it was one of the best few moments of my life. And yet I was so close to throwing all that away. That fear was, as you said, it was so loud. It was so loud beyond, it was screaming at me.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. Every single time.
And
you know what else it does? So, I've worked with people online all around the world, right? Connect in this kind of, Zoom platform or Skype. And it's interesting lots of times because, technology likes to have its little fails, The number of times, a couple of things that always kind of get my attention. If we have trouble connecting, so some kind of weird techno fail just getting us hooked in. And I'm always like, okay, pay attention, Deb, this is going to be a really interesting session. And every time without fail, they are the sessions that deliver absolute, or will be in the middle of the session and they're just about to have that breakthrough. Like they're literally having that epiphany when, it breaks and we reconnect. And I'll always go back to that. I take them back to that moment. So listen, the last thing I heard you say was, because what happens is when we get disconnected in technology, we kind of go into a frazzle and we frantically try and get back.
Absolutely, yes.
And you lose that moment, right? You lose that moment of magic. So I'll always take them back to listen, the last thing I heard you say, well, this is what we were just talking about. And they go, oh, yeah. Right, okay. Take a breath, let's ground, boom. And it is absolutely, without fail, happens every single time. It's amazing. It's very, very sneaky, this way of the world. Everything happens for a reason. Pay attention, people. Pay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If I could ask you one thing to finish off with, what's one of the best ways do you feel to tap into that heart space?
Okay. So there are a number of ways. And first and foremost is, whenever anxiety is high or, you're angry or, fear has really rattled your chain. It is about grounding yourself through breath. Just give yourself 3 cleansing breaths. And then the most powerful thing you can do is to actually ask the question, because we're actually hardwired to answer, right? And you said it just a moment ago, Jason. How can I be of service today? Because this is the other thing. That's why I said about, we don't just find the answer in our heart, we follow the answer in our heart. When we follow answers in our heart, it's always, always expansive. It is never just about us. When you had that moment in Santa Barbara, that wasn't just about you being on the stage delivering a meditation. That rippled out across 850 people, right? You changed people's lives in that moment. And they walked away from that moment enriched because of the experience that you shared with them. And the same is true with all of us. Whenever we honor that intuitive heart space, we impact so much more than just ourselves. And so this is what I love about Brené Brown's work, just by the way, is that that whole call to courage, courage lives on the faithful side of the ledger. When we play in that space, when we honour that faithful calling, we always impact way more than ourselves. It ripples through those that we either work with, we do life with, that we serve. It's a completely enriching experience. So that's my mission. That's what I do. One, help people get clear on what that voice is, what that mission is for themselves, and then help them better manage that fearful interrupt that's trying to deny them their sense of possibility. So,
and I know that you do a fantastic job of that, because for those of you that don't know, Deb is my life coach, and I can't recommend Deb enough, because you've helped me no end for many years now, for a number of years. And so, I'd just like to say thank you so much. And thank you so much, Deb. And where can people reach out to you? Because Deb does coaching sessions on Zoom or Skype or wherever. Where can people get in contact with you, Deb? I'll put the links here.
Okay, so probably the easiest way is Facebook page debhann.com, or to go Facebook page debhann.com.
Debhann.com, yeah.
Facebook page Deb Hann, full stop. Or the webpage debhann.com. And you know what, actually, if you do that, if you go to debhann.com, there's a little light box that flashes up that actually invites you to download a free 5-step guide that helps you start to identify your faith-fueled mission, your very own faith-fueled mission.
Beautiful.
People, please do that. Go do that. Download it and just get into it. Have some fun with it. Have fun. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Deb.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute joy to have you. Yeah.
It's been wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you. Have a beautiful weekend.
And you too, and best wishes.
Will do.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye. What an absolute delight Deb was to speak with. I really hope that you guys got something from that. I thoroughly enjoyed that myself, and it was just so good to watch it back again. Fear versus faith, faith versus fear, and finding answers in the heart. And as Deb said, once you've found them, following answers in the heart. Was a really enjoyable talk. What did you think of that one, guys? I'm glad that you liked it. Yeah, Deb's amazing, and I highly recommend Deb. Deb's been my personal life coach for many years now, possibly 5 years, and was actually a trainer at the Life Coaching Academy in Queensland, and where I first met her, where she was training me. So Deb's truly amazing, and I can't recommend her enough as a life coach. If you might remember when I did the homeless project, Deb had a part to play in all of that when I was giving out the MP3s. So Deb was helping me through all of that. So just a beautiful conversation. She's amazing. Yeah, and you're most welcome. You're most welcome. I'm just looking at the chat here now. Yes. I'm glad you all enjoyed it, guys. Next week we'll be back with a live meditation, a one-on-one with me, and then probably the following week. I think I'm traveling back to New South Wales. So 2 weeks time, I may not be here the following week, but we'll work something out. I'll keep you posted on that, okay? I'll let you know how that goes. And one thing I did want to mention, guys, that I noticed that Seal said, and other people have said, that they have problems with notifications with YouTube. YouTube have actually acknowledged that this is a problem. I had meant to say something at the beginning, but I was sort of thrown out by someone banging at my door. But yeah, so number one, the first thing you've got to do is make sure the notification bell is on. Number two, what you really must make sure that you do as well is make sure your notifications are turned on your phone in the app settings, because if it's not turned on there, the notifications won't come through. And failing that, YouTube have admitted, because they literally pump out millions and millions and millions of notifications on the hour, every hour, that they admit that they're still working on it, that there are faults in their system, and so they're working through that process of making this better. But personally, I don't know if they will or how they will, but that's what they're promising. So I really hope that can help. Just making sure that it's on your phone, going into your settings and checking just to make 100% sure, and then making sure the little bell notifications on there as well. So failing that, I want to wish you guys a great day, and hope you enjoyed even though you didn't get to see Dharma, my dog, crashing the light rigging. It was quite scary, because he's just over there, and next minute I saw these lights going, and I heard him sort of scuffling, and I thought the whole lighting was going to come down. He's just like, whoa, quick, get up. So it was quite funny, and I was going to cut it out. I thought, no, I'm leaving that in. So just check this. It'd be helpful to have a link to the live page from the Life Expansion homepage. Yes, Seal. Let me look into that one too. I might be able to do something about that I haven't done before. Let me look at that one. I might be able to do that. Live video homepage. This is a possibility. We can work on that. Oh, and just Seal's asking about Dharma. Dharma is, he's okay. He's okay. He's battling along. Yesterday he had to go back to the vets again. He wasn't so well, and I know he's a very old dog, but I think he's going to bounce back in a little bit more time. So bounce back, maybe not bounce, but at least walk back. Okay, I send you guys love. Thanks for tuning in, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be with you today. And have a great day, and until next week, we'll see you next week. Goodbye for now. God bless. Bye-bye.